The U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has condemned the sanctions imposed by Britain and other nations against two Israeli cabinet members, and these ministers are accused of repeatedly inciting violence against Palestinians. Now, Rubio's comment came after Britain's foreign ministry earlier announced that Israel's national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and finance minister of Israel, Bezalel Smotrich, will be banned from entering the UK and will not have any assets in the country. Pardon me, they will not have their assets will be frozen in the country. Australia, Canada, New Zealand and Norway also imposed fresh measures against these ministers.
Well, these two individuals, Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, have been inciting violence against Palestinian people for months and months and months. And alongside our partners, Canada, Australia, New Zealand and Norway, today we are announcing sanctions against those individuals because we have been absolutely clear. This has to stop, and we stand for a two-state solution. And the settler violence that we've seen in the West Bank particularly is entirely unacceptable.
In a joint statement, the foreign ministers of the five countries said that Ben-Gvir and Smotrich have incited extremist violence and serious abuses of Palestinian human rights. They said the action is being taken now to hold those responsible to account. A UK government official speaking on conditions of anonymity said that Canada and Australia had also imposed sanctions, while Norway and New Zealand had implemented travel bans against the ministers. However, US criticized the move. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, in a statement said that these sanctions do not advance US-led efforts to achieve a ceasefire, bringing all hostages home and ending the war in Gaza. The sanctions mark a break between the five countries and Israel's closest ally, United States, with Rubio urging partners not to forget who the real enemy is and to stand shoulder to shoulder with Israel against Hamas. Both Ben-Gvir and Smotrich led far-right parties that play a key role in Prime Minister Netanyahu's fragile coalition. Their hardline stance on the West Bank and the Gaza war has drawn international condemnation time and again. They face asset freezes and travel bans from these five countries. Reacting to these sanctions, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Saar says that the government would hold a special meeting early next week to decide how to respond to the unacceptable decision.
We were informed about UK decision to include two of our ministers on the British sanctions list. It is outrageous that elected representatives and members of the government are subjected to this kind of measures. I discussed it earlier today with Prime Minister Netanyahu, and we will hold a special government meeting early next week to decide on our response to this unacceptable decision.
Meanwhile, Smotrich has directed the finance ministry to cancel a waiver that allowed Israeli banks to work with Palestinian ones. Local media reports said that Smotrich's order came in response to the sanctions, even though the Palestinian Authority is not known to have any involvement in the joint decision by the UK and other countries. The Palestinian economy relies heavily on the bank's relationships with their Israeli counterparts to process transactions made in shekels, as Palestinian authorities do not have their own currency.